And we can't let that happen. We just can't let that happen on this podcast because we are for the people.
At the end of the day, the guy's a hell of a player. Beyond nails.
That is the hardest par 3 of the PGA Tour. It's a hybrid 3-iron or 4-iron every day.
It's for the people. You're the last group off a split tee horseshoe on number 10, and you do a Happy Gilmore. What the hell's wrong with that?
Well, welcome to a special edition of For the People podcast. We're doing a collab with Out of Nowhere podcast. We got two NFL legends with us. Legends in their own mind, everybody else's minds. Me and JJ, we're just legends in our own minds, but that doesn't matter. We have 20 years of NFL experience on the other side of the microphone. We got Danny Woodhead and Matt Slauson of the Out of Nowhere pod joining us today on For the People. We've got a hell of a lot of questions from y'all this week. Thank you for submitting them. Thank you for your time. You've got the next hour and a half with us. For the People and Out of Nowhere podcast coming right to you out of the gates. What do we say, boys?
Yeah, you know, I feel really blessed to see your face as you're speaking because you have one of the best, I don't know if I'd call it a golden voice.
Oh my God. I was just about to,
but it's like
I was
butter.
just about to say that.
My favorite thing, like to describe things as that I really love, and I don't drink it, but I think of like melted butter. And that's what Petey's voice is like. It's just, there's nothing that will soothe you more than melted butter. And that was unbelievable. Probably the best introduction of my career.
You know,
I want to interject something.
6
really
episodes
quick.
into this. We're 6 episodes into this. And I've gotten that from both of our guests so far.
He's kind of like a Werther's original caramel situation too.
All right. I want to interject or maybe inject. I don't know what the fucking.
You're a
terms
football
are
player.
here.
You inject stuff all the time. So just give it to us all.
Yeah. Petey, when I listen to your voice, I think to myself, Buffalo Wild Wings is kicking themselves for this Bob and Harry bullshit going on because your voice straight walks into the nearest B-dubs and kicks his dick straight up into his throat.
Facts.
Well, all I have to say about that, Slaw, is thank you very little. That means a lot for coming from a NFL legend such as yourself. I'm sure you've heard some great voices over the years. You've had Jim Nantz, Tony Romo up your ass, and then all of a sudden you're in the locker room with guys' voices that are deeper than anything you've ever heard. So that means a lot coming from you, Slaw. Thank you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You guys, tell us about your Out of Nowhere pod. I mean, you guys are pretty new to the game, and it's incredible. I got to know you just a couple months ago, weeks ago, really, in Orlando. I feel as if we're like soulmates, life partners, whatever we may be. But your guys' podcast is nails, incredible. You guys love golf. We love golf. We love football. It's a great marriage. There's probably some sort of baby that's going to be made tonight. I don't know what it's going to look like.
Or maybe even twins. Yeah,
perhaps twins. Perhaps twins, but it'll be a hell of a deal. But tell us about your pod, what you guys have been up to, and tell the people where they can find it, man.
Yeah, you can find it on any freaking podcast platform. And we have, I guess we have social pages too on Insta. And is that what the kids say? Insta?
Yeah,
Instagram?
the kids, that's what the kids say.
The Twitter sphere.
Yeah, in the Twitter sphere, at OON pod. Man, we like to kick it. We really do. We talk about golf. We talk a lot about football now during with football season, not, in play. We'll talk a little bit about football because free agency, and I feel like the NFL just wants to talk about stuff. So I guess we just talk about it, and it's fun. We don't take ourselves too serious. We talk a lot about golf. Man, I don't know. And I feel like the last 5 episodes we've talked about Slauson and him pooping. I mean, that's just where it's led.
There's been a lot of shit talk. It's been great.
Well, I mean, he clogged the toilet in ice fishing land in South Dakota with three big boulders. I mean, I don't know. His buddy or was it your brother-in-law who's a plumber?
Yeah, brother-in-law plumber.
They went in, they were kicking the toilet. That's going to dislodge it with. I mean, he's a plumber, so he obviously knows. But there was what was it? It was similar to a boulder-ish.
Well, what he told me was, when he walked in and saw the travesty that was in the bowl, He said, "Oh my God!"
And there was three of them.
I've never seen anything this big in my life. You either need to find a coat hanger to chop all this up, or we're just going to start kicking the shit out of this toilet here, and
Literally.
hopefully it starts to slide.
And that's what you did, right?
So what happened? Like, what happened with that?
It eventually slid.
Did you kill? How many fish did this thing kill? This abomination. How many? I mean, is there an endangered species because of this?
No wonder we have global warming.
Right?
Thanks, Al Gore.
They were
Biggest
staying
sham
in
of my life.
a $20 motel, though. Yeah, with an M. They were staying in a $20 motel with three huge people and then one just standard size guy. And they each, what were you guys sharing? A queen bed?
Yes. Me and the other biggest guy are in one queen bed. This is the dude that shaves his chest, and I didn't know. So I was trying to make him super uncomfortable because I like doing that. I think it's funny. So I jump into bed in my underwear and I start cuddling him. I'm like, "Oh my God, you shave your chest? I just got poked by like 1,000 hairs."
You got razor burn. And freaking streaks across his neck.
What were we at? Were we at a Super 8 or a budget? I mean, what was it?
It was none of those. It was one of those mom
and pop deal.
Yeah, mom and pop fishing lodge. I mean, you walk in.
It probably was called the fishing lodge.
It probably was. Yeah, that's standard procedure.
Yeah. So when we were driving up, we were talking about the sleeping scenarios here, and my brother-in-law, who goes up there all the time, he told me there are two queen beds. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, great. So there's at least a pull-out sofa, the weird, gross sofa that has probably been used for God knows what. There's always a pull-out underneath there. There was not a sofa in the room. And there are three very large human beings. So to briefly gloss over this story, one of my brother-in-law is like 5'4", 290 pounds. So he's not a small human being. He's if a bowling ball was a human being, that's him. Yeah. And then the other one is 5'11". So he claims. He also claims 260. I call bullshit on that. 260 my ass. He saw that in middle school. And then there's me. I haven't been under 300 pounds since 8th grade. So, yeah, and then my wife's brother, he's like 5'6", like 140. And the two smaller guys decide to chum up together, and I got the bigger dude. Makes zero sense, but it was fun.
God forbid there be any hotel rooms left. It's what is it? What is it? Zero? Is it 0 degrees up there? And there's no motels. You probably had an entire hotel full of rooms at $20 a pop, and you said, "Nah, we're gonna save our $20 and just all share a bed."
Bro,
because this makes so much sense.
I asked him about that, and he goes, "Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of fishermen up there." He goes, "But I do know for a fact that the room next to us was empty." Like, why don't you just go?
And it never crossed my mind.
Man, that's too much. We're out.
It never even entered my mind to go walking the 50 yards to the office to say, "Hey, can I get the room next door to ours?" Never crossed my mind.
Could have drove
the whole time.
over there.
I'm going, okay, this is what it is. I'm just cuddling up next to a giant dude, and we're just going to create some steam heat. It's going to be great.
Edie, I got to send you this picture. It's just two dudes with a few tats just sitting there, just like with both their ass cheeks hanging off the end of the bed. I mean, it's a sight to behold. It reminds me of a caddy situation. Like, yes. Petey, it reminds me of like a Corn Ferry Tour, mini tour caddy situation. The caddies, they go like 4 or 5 to a room, and it's just this legendary situation every week. The players will bitch because like whatever, breakfast won't be hot when they get there. The omelets, the eggs, they ran out of egg whites. You had to have yolks in your omelet, whatever the hell it is. And then the caddies have got like 6 deep in the Motel 6 driving through the night to some godforsaken town.
Yeah.
That's what that hotel situation kind of reminds me of.
So the caddy situation on the PGA Tour is quite interesting. I remember I played the Corn Ferry Tour finals. This would have been in 15. No, I kept my card in 15. It would have been 14. So 14 I played. And the third tournament of the 4 was in Boise. Caddies rented a bus and drove from Boise, Idaho to Jacksonville, Florida.
No.
In one straight route without stopping. It was like 26 hours.
Oh my God.
Just so they could save on plane tickets. That's what caddies do. They're desperate. Some of them make zero money. You got to admire the heart of they're all in the game all the time. They do not waver. 26 hours straight in a bus. There's like 9 of them sweating, pissing on each other, eating McDonald's the entire way there, and then they sleep in it, and then they sleep in one hotel room. I mean, the dedication that takes. Some of these guys are 70, it's changing out diapers for each other. I mean, you just gotta love it.
Petey, it's a lot like Slaw, A very similar story.
Except
he made millions of dollars.
Yeah, Slaw caddied for you like 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about?
No, he did. Without a doubt, but I'm saying like
JJ and Woody will attest. I'm the greatest caddy in the history of the game.
Oh my God!
No other caddy will be
hard.
blowing hammies. No other caddy will be blowing hammies at 1 o'clock in the morning and then go walk two days after that.
So we get back to the room.
Heart.
Hey, Petey, we get back to the room after he blows out his hammy in a race against Colleen and homeless guy and who else was it?
Unconscious Perry.
Perry. It was Perry. That's right. It was Perry. And I look at him, and he's a hurting dude. And he had already had enough drinks to where it's like, okay, that's gonna help it numb it. And nothing was numb. And I said, bro, like, what's the chance? Like you caddy tomorrow, like 20%. I go, because I need to know I'm not carrying my bag. I just didn't want to. And because that was when my back was still Sketchville. And he looks at me and goes, 200%. And it's like, and I'm like,
mind you, in my mind, I'm going, 0 chance am I carrying this fucking bag, but I have to sell it because it's this fake it till you make it situation going on.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna lie to him, and I'm lying to myself. It's okay though.
The best thing is one of the guys I was playing with. He's talking to me. We're walking up like, I don't know, 4th or 5th fairway, and he goes, "Hey, like, if we need to help him with anything," I didn't tell you, Slaw, this is day 1. If we need to help him with anything, we got him. And I'm like, just let him deal. Just let him carry the bag. He ran a 40-yard dash when he was hammered. And like, I don't know what to tell him. Like, I want to see him get through this.
He won.
Well, yeah, and Slaw, from a guy, and I've heard this story. We had a couple intoxicated nights there in Orlando, but from a guy that had shards of bone in his lungs, coughing up blood at halftime multiple times, a broken neck, broken everything else. How catastrophic would it have been if you could not have caddied for 1 round for Danny after having injuries like that?
I would have had to end it all, because if I can make it through that BS and I couldn't make it through a hamstring flopping out of my ass over here, like, what kind of Sally am I? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that in today's.
You have to say Karen. You have to say Karen, actually.
Karen.
Yeah.
What
or Sam or
Sammy.
Sammy. I think Sammy, because then it's,
Either way,
I don't know if y'all's podcast is ranked E for explicit, but ours definitely is. So anything goes on the For the People.
I like Sammy though.
Yeah.
Well, so dude, so we have a bunch of questions, but like caddying, just so you guys know, Slaw, and you could kind of get a sense of this. People go like, "Hey, I want to get into caddying. Like, tell me what it's like. How do I get into it? How do I caddy on the PGA Tour? I go, listen, I want you to close your eyes, and now I want you to open them. I want you to look at my face, and I want you to imagine a person like me being responsible for you and your family's livelihood."
That's a hell of a deal.
And now I want you to go get a job. God bless America.
Yeah, I would definitely not agree to that.
I've never thought of it like that, but that's true. Like, you look at him, you're like, "Eh."
Based on
you're taking care of me.
Looking at the caddies that I've seen, and also looking at myself in the mirror, because technically I am a caddy now.
Right.
Our job options are working at the local Home Depot or caddying on tour. And I don't know. I suppose the caddy could potentially pay more if you find the right guy. But when I caddy for Woodhead,
oh, you're not finding the right guy with me.
All I think is when he hits a shot and it isn't quite what he wants, I think Well, I could have done that. I mean, shit. Let's go.
Or you could be riding cross country in a bus with 16 other caddies. You could be doing that too.
Let's just be honest, that could be fun though.
It could be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like if you're into like, you know, motels snuggling up against just shaved and chest hair, you know, then yeah.
We all know I am.
Good.
I'm in that.
I mean, yeah,
more
dude.
than in it.
Hostels and hepatitis is hell of a deal in foreign countries. I'm in for that twice, actually. Multiple strands. Oh, all right. So we could talk to you guys forever just because this is like BFF bromance situation, but we got some questions from the people. They're fans, more fans of you guys than us. But
I don't believe that.
No, they are. I mean, they are.
We'll take it. Well, it made me feel good.
No, they're not.
I mean, yeah. Well, maybe not. I don't know. But this is recent. This is a recent pod that we're giving you guys. Johnny Manziel, aka Johnny Football, aka Johnny Money, aka any other words I don't know. Wants to turn. There is. Okay, that's good. He wants to turn professional, and by professional I mean professional golf. Woody, what's your handicap, by the way? Plus something?
Plus 2-ish.
So Woody's a nails golfer. For those of you that don't know, Woody's
know that.
D-Dub's unbelievable. Slaw is swinging like he looks like a figure skater out there with all this finesse that he's got. He's on plane. It looks good as hell. His handicap is just diminishing like his weight is. And God, he looks good. You guys are good golfers. What do you think, or do you think at all that Johnny Manziel has a chance of, first of all, anyone can say they're a pro. They can just say I'm a pro, but a chance of being successful in professional golf?
All right, let me start on this, Woodhead, because you're going to come at this from the whole analytical side and like, hey, I know about golf. I know what I'm doing. So let me start before you come in with your expertise. I know 100% that I'm a way better athlete than fucking Johnny Manziel. This guy is a pile of garbage. All right. I have a better chance of becoming a professional golfer than Johnny Manziel has. And the only chance I have is to be a caddy on the Champions Tour. And that's because I know I can walk faster than those 70-year-old men. Johnny Manziel's chances are worse than mine of becoming a pro golfer. Okay. Woodhead, go.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked a good story, right? I mean, I've always liked the underdog story. I like the underdog story probably a little bit more of you playing in the NBA than Johnny Manziel playing on the PGA Tour. And you'd be a rather short power forward. You really would. But the thing that I learned,
I could power.
I'm not the greatest golfer, but for an amateur, I'm fine, right? And I played in the Big Money Classic, and I looked like an absolute fool. Now, I didn't play great, but I mean, he's like a 1. And I hope he gets great.
No chance he's a 1.
It's a different world. It's an absolute different world. Like, I would love to think that I'm a pro golfer. I'm not a pro golfer. I'm going to try to get as good as I can, and sure, it'd be fun. But I guess he could turn pro, because guess what? I could turn pro too right now and just pay and play in some of those events, and they would gladly take my money. And they'd say, "Oh, Danny Woodhead, sure, you're a professional golfer now. You are. But you're not going to compete. You're actually going to never make a cut. You're not going to." So I think
I have
a lot of
seen
people
kid.
are talking about Johnny Manziel. And he's probably a nice kid, maybe.
I've seen him throw football in the NFL. If he's a fucking 1, I will play him right now on the course. He will give me eight fucking strokes. He'll give me that because I'm a 9. Okay. If he's a 1, I will whoop his ass all over the course. All right. I won't even try. I'll just show up and do my deal. 1.
Yeah, you could play in the NBA though.
0 chance.
Yeah, but do you know the grind of an SEC schedule either, Slaw?
Oh my god. That's exactly what it's like. That's what's so stupid, right? And I love college football. For some reason, people think that the SEC is like tougher to play in than the NFL. Like you're like, oh, this guy's a savage in the NFL. Yeah, but you see what this guy did at Bama. I don't care what he did at Bama, man. I really don't care what he did at Bama. That's the funny thing. You get in the NFL, and people are always like, yeah, but Bama could beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's like, you are one of the dumbest human beings ever in the history of human beings.
They could beat the San Diego Chargers. That's it. Or LA Chargers. Sorry.
That's my favorite.
They could not beat Jacksonville. Zero chance. They will beat the LA Chargers. That is without a doubt.
That's because they're trying to lose.
You know how many Bama guys have come in and take my fucking job? And their asses sore from sitting on the bench the whole time? Oh my God. It's ridiculous.
All right,
I will be a scratch. I will be a scratch before Johnny Manziel. And I'm giving him an 8-stroke buffer.
And if he's a 1?
Oh, wow. That's a hell of a deal. You're a 9.
What about you guys?
I'll be damned. Colleen.
Here's my take.
What do you think my guy, Money Manziel? I love Johnny Manziel, so I'll go last on that.
I loved him as a football player.
Oh, me too. Dude, he's got the persona. I mean, here's the deal. I respect the move. Woody as a +2. That's a hell of a deal. You're not just a decent golfer. I mean, I might have to put my knee pads on here, but for a guy that lives in Antarctica that can only play golf 8 days a year, a +2 is beyond nails. It's beyond nails. So, especially for, NFL guy. So that's good. Slaw, freaking offensive lineman with a big, sexy body, single-digit handicap. Same shit. So this is what I'll say. We have Tony Romo, and I play with Romo a little bit. I would say Romo is a legit scratch. Okay. Mm-hmm. So like if you're playing, he's a legit scratch. So he'd play at Colonial with us, and all the pros, we'd play stroke play instead of match play, whatever. And all the pros would give him 4-shot stroke play. So the pros are essentially +4s. So
yep.
Doesn't seem like a lot. Well, in tournament, that's 16 shots. Quite a few shots. Okay.
It's a lot.
And you played a pro event. That course was not easy. You put up decent, respectable numbers. You beat plenty of pros, man. But I'll tell you this. Romo, pretty decent player. I don't know if he sniffed a cut or not. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. It's just not easy, dude. Like, I don't know what Manziel's handicap is. Maybe he can make a cut on a mini tour or something, but that shit ain't easy, man. It's just not. It's like me saying I can throw a football 50 yards. I'm going to be a quarterback. I can throw a football 50 yards. Why the hell can't I be a quarterback, dude? Right? It's just like there's a whole lot more shit that goes into it.
And the thing is, like, if he's playing pro, I'm thinking like the dude's like playing on the Corn Ferry or something.
Right.
Like, I mean, there's some great, you guys know this, there's great mini tour guys too, but like in some of those mini tours, like at least in the area here, you just have to be a professional, turn pro, and pay the fee because they're not denying your fee.
Right.
Yeah, you can just straight up. I mean, that's
so like
that's
he could do that without a doubt.
You can say I'm a pro. It costs $1,000 to enter this event. You're essentially gambling. You're playing for your own money is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm a pro. You don't have a handicap. You're a pro, and then you try to make money for sure. That's how you got to do it. Maybe he might get some sponsor starts, whatever. I love the fact he's trying to do it, but
I do too.
It's beyond hard. It's beyond. I mean, it's ridiculously hard to try to do. And I don't know. He said the 12-year deal, whatever, man. Maybe he can make magic happen. But PGA Tour, that's freaking no joke. PGA Tour is no goddamn joke. I mean, I play on the PGA Tour. I work at a driving range. Hopefully Petey will be back on the PGA Tour, but he's a day trader currently at this time and moment. Yeah. So like that shit ain't easy. And we both won the money list on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Exactly.
Okay, so
credit to us.
In my opinion, in my professional golf opinion, I'm a huge Johnny Manziel fan. Okay, I have been from when he was at A&M, even when he was playing against LSU. I loved watching Johnny Manziel play, was pulling for him to win the Heisman. He won the Heisman, got drafted, went to the Browns, collapse, right? Complete collapse. The things that I know about Johnny Manziel, okay, number one, He's from Tyler, Texas. He comes from a boatload of oil and gas money. Boatload. Even if he never made it in the NFL, Johnny Manziel could have pursued professional golf 6 years ago, 7 years ago. No one would have heard of him. He would have already been doing it. If he loved golf that much, he should have been doing it years ago, for one. For two, he's got the bank account to pursue it for years. Doesn't matter. 12 years is a really awkward number. How the hell do you pull 12 years out of a hat?
Like, I would think 10.
Like 12's are just a strange number. But anyway, Johnny Manziel is an incredible athlete. We know that. Not quite as good as Matt Slauson, but almost. So if we're talking about the second best athlete in the world here, trying to play professional golf over the 12 years, yeah, sure. He can sign up and play in a Adams Tour event or a Monday qualifier and call himself a professional golfer. But I have a better chance of winning the Heisman Trophy in 5 years than Johnny Manziel does playing full-time on the PGA Tour in 5 years. There are 50,000 professional golfers in the world, and there are 225 PGA Tour cards every year. It's the hardest sport in the world to be at the top level at. If you think for 1 second that a scratch golfer is going to make the PGA Tour in 12 years, I don't care if you practice all day long and you have all the money in the world. If you haven't done it since you were born, you are not going to make it. And I love Johnny Manziel.
I think the thing is, too,
I love when Petey goes on a rant. His voice, I want to be a Scientologist. I don't know what he's selling right now, but it's incredible. The situation there is beyond belief.
But the thing that you also have to, like, say he was like a +3 right now, and he, like, I never practice. Well, he also has a track
+3.
Fine, but he has a track record too, right? And I'm not talking about track and field, but he obviously didn't do some things right when it came to accountability.
No doubt.
Yeah, you're on your own.
Yeah,
and it's going to be even harder.
Right?
Yeah, it's going to be even harder to not have, a babysitter there.
Yeah, coaches and dietitians and nutritionists. Yeah,
right.
I mean, you got no one looking over your shoulder. That's another thing. Golf is so internal. It's just you. Like, it's not like he has a team of coaches around him to keep him on the straight and narrow. That's not going to happen. So say this. So he goes to a Monday qualifier, okay, in 3 years when he's a +5, right? He goes to a Monday qualifier in Omaha, right?
Right.
Where you're from, okay?
Yes, sir.
Cox Classic tries to qualify. It doesn't even happen anymore. We're so old that Cox Classic doesn't even happen anymore. But
I won it, whatever. It doesn't matter. So it's all just keep going.
Champions run.
Hypothetically, Cox Classic, Monday qualifier, Johnny Manziel goes in there, shoots 79, misses by 15. Okay. Is he going to have the determination to wake up the next day like all of the other guys that missed and work on his chipping? No. Because he has millions of dollars.
And he doesn't need it.
Right.
Be in some club until 4 in the morning, just hitting blow off the bathroom sink. He'll be all right.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's where I draw the line. Like Colleen and me made it on the PGA Tour because we had to. It was a necessity. Like, we weren't going to eat until we got there, and we did. And now we eat. But he's already eaten for years, and he will forever. So he doesn't need to get to the PGA Tour. I love Johnny. I'm the biggest Johnny Manziel fan in the world, but I do not think that this is realistic.
I was a huge fan too.
Yeah. So Danny and Slaw, we've talked about this before, and Danny, you've talked about it specifically, like with the Patriots, like individual sports, you got to have accountability, right? Some organizations in the NFL rely on accountability. Some don't, like the Chargers. Basically, rock bottom for everything's the Chargers. It's just willy-nilly. You do whatever you want. However,
Thanks,
Patriots.
John Spanos.
Yeah, thanks, Spanos season. Freaking, are you kidding me? Southwest, 19 stops before we get to Miami for the goddamn playoff game. So
they ain't played a playoff game.
Yeah, I'm playing that shit. So you got to be accountable, man. The Patriots held every individual accountable. Golf, however, is an individual sport. You got to have accountability. So, if you don't have a babysitter, a guy telling you to wake up at this time, work out at this time, eat this, eat that, be at this weight, do these drills, do these things. If you're relying only on yourself, you better have a mentality where you're accountable yourself. And I feel as if the best guys, even in the organizations that didn't have great accountability, held themselves accountable, right? That's kind of how they made it. Well,
yeah,
if you're not that kind of guy, you ain't going to make it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like in New England, obviously they bring in guys that's how they are. Otherwise, they just fire them. And the thing is, like, once you're on your own, or like when I got released and I was a free agent, like I had to figure it out. Like no one had any allegiance to me. So I had to figure it out. When I went to New England, it's like I had to figure it out, and hopefully they liked what they saw. Well, the thing is in golf, you have to figure it out, but you have to figure it out with your score. The score will never lie. The strokes will never lie. You can't just be like, oh, well, but they like me, so it's going to work. You got to figure it out. And that's the thing that I've noticed too, even with myself, and I'm at such a smaller level, but like, if I don't practice, I'm pretty much going to suck. I just am. And you've seen it. Like I've known some guys, but they're younger guys that go and turn pro, and it's like, and then they don't really practice that hard. It's like, well, you probably didn't make it because you're not practicing. I don't know. Like that's just what it is. If you're not like working on your craft in anything, you're gonna suck.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before on our pod, and Colleen has a great bit about there's about 15 guys in the entire world that can go on a 30-day bender, do cocaine, and sit there and not sleep for 30 days and then come back the next week and finish second. There's about 20 guys in the world that can do that. But for the majority of normal folks like us, it's me. If I didn't practice for a week, I'd immediately go shoot 77 every time. And
you son of a bitch. 77. I've seen that I've seen that score a handful of times in my life. And you're like, oh yeah, I'll just go do blow and go out and just rip bongs all the time. Oh, go shoot a 77. My God, I haven't hit a 77 all year.
Okay, so Slaw, I'm 185 pounds. I'm 5'11". How many guys do you think I could block on the defensive line in the NFL? Well, would I get double teamed? Would I get triple teamed?
Your golf career could be over.
It already is.
Oh shit!
All right, let me piggyback on what you guys are saying here, because I know absolutely nothing about golf. My small knowledge in that realm of things is that golf is the complete opposite of football, because in football, specifically speaking, NFL, anybody who walks in the door of an NFL team already has the tools built in them. And I'm going to do a quick plug for Performance Mountain here, because I know Woodhead will never do it. Performance Mountain is a company that Woodhead and I are both a part of. And when I say both a part of, Woodhead is an owner. I clean the bathroom stalls.
You're good though.
So like
it's super good at it.
You're in.
As long as you don't use the stall, it's a hell of an easy job there, Slaw. Slaw walks to the Dunkin' Donuts to clog it up, but at your joint, no, you're not going to use
that. To water it down a little bit, it's leadership consulting, motivational company, and one of the big things we talk about in being elite is doing the little things better than anybody else. So with football, that plays in dramatically, because when you walk in the doors of an NFL team, you already have the tools to be there. All you have to do is do the little things. Show up early, work hard, just be where you're supposed to be. Your assignment on the field, there's going to be little technique things where you can do it better, but just be in the spot where you're supposed to be. That's the easiest thing in the world. And that's something, after knowing Woodhead and after, seeing the Patriots win year after year after year, all it is just be in the place you're supposed to be, and we'll figure out the rest as we go. Golf is different. And that's why Johnny Manziel will fail every single week, because that guy is the most unprofessional person I've ever seen in sports.
If they had a fan
he be
controlled golf
talented?
league,
He may be talented as all get out, but he will never be in the spot he's supposed to be. And golf is way more technical than football is.
No,
and he's not going to be able to hack it.
You're spot on, bro. So Slauson, what you mentioned, accountability, be in the right place at the right time, show up early, the little things. That's what makes great guys great, right? There's intangibles too that guys have. Killer instinct, ass kicking machines. Some guys don't get nervous. Patrick Reed's a serial killer. Who knows how many bodies are buried someplace? I mean, whatever. But I've told Petey this before. We talk about it all the time. There's like maybe 15 guys that can go fall downstairs, go to rehab, go on vacation, be in God knows where for a month, and then they can win the Masters their first day back with no practice rounds.
Not mentioning any names here.
No.
Are there 15? Are there a handful of NFL guys who can maybe say, "Man, I'm not going to play for a year," and then come back and be nails? Or is it that demanding where your body has to be in like such good shape? I mean, a guy at the top of my mind all the time, and he's just in and out of rehab, and he's always on a team. People are dying to pick him up, is like Josh Gordon type of guy. But
Antonio Brown,
are there guys like that where they're like so athletically talented and good in their craft where somebody's going to pick them up immediately? Or is the NFL just a little bit different in that way than golf, where no, they got to be in shape for at least a month before they can maybe play a game?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, especially at receiver, you can give us 20 plays, right? And you're not going to get tired. But the thing you have to be so careful with, like in the NFL, is I know it's a profession and it's a job, but you can mess with team chemistry, and you see it so many times, and it messes up the culture of a team, and they end up it's like, why do you think they suck? I don't know, because you're getting a bunch of idiots on the team. I'm not saying it's Josh Gordon or Antonio Brown, because it worked in Tampa, and I think obviously because it's under the structure of Tom Brady.
Right.
But if you bring a bunch of dudes that come in and they're not accountable, it's like you see all these other dudes that are accountable, and they're like, why are they playing? They don't even know the route tree. Like, why is he in the game? It makes no sense. And I think that's the thing, like, Slaw's hard on him, but like that's the frustrating thing about your former favorite team, the Chargers, is this is like a real talk, is because they put guys in there and it's like you've lost the respect of the veterans. Dude, like you put these guys in that like shouldn't be in.
Yeah, shouldn't be in, and they're just they're chess pieces or media pieces or whatever. So we've talked like NFL, whatever. I'm a huge NFL guy. I love it. Petey's a huge college guy. I might love NFL too. I don't know. But we've talked about Brady, Phillip Rivers, and I know Slaw, Cutler's, one of your boys there. How about like the quarterback component, the leadership there? Like how important is in every position's important, obviously, but are there certain guys that could literally become coaches the next day, like maybe Brady or Rivers or somebody like that? And how do those guys like lead a team straight up to victory? Like it's a huge advantage just having Phillip Rivers' brain, even if his body's all beat up, just at the helm, kind of like the Colts last year.
That's an interesting question there. There are guys that could step directly into a coaching role, but the problem is the coaching life is so much different. I mean, you were working 40% more hours, and it's just meeting after meeting after meeting, straight to field, then meeting, then meeting, then meeting. And that adjustment, it's going to take a little bit. So let's take a guy like Phil. Phil runs the show. He leads every team he's on. And the reason I'm talking about this is the fact that there were rumors going around about Houston interviewing Josh McCown for the head coaching job. And I played with Josh in Chicago. The dude's an incredible guy. I mean, he just exudes, leadership, and guys want to follow him. But to interview him for a head coaching job, I think is an absolute joke, because that's a whole different, it's almost a whole different industry. I mean, you are the figurehead. You're dealing with so many different things that aren't directly football. Can Josh lead a team? Absolutely, 100%. But there's so much more that goes into that, and that even goes for a guy like Tom and Phil. You can't jump straight to a head coaching job the second you finish playing. It's a completely different skill set you need that takes years to build. Now, could those guys jump straight into a quarterback coaching role? 100%, without a doubt. Or maybe even offensive coordinator. I mean, especially a guy like Tom and Phil, absolutely, they could jump straight into the coordinator role without a problem. But the head coaching role, you are leading all three sides of the ball immediately, and that is an adjustment period.
So I've got a question for you, Slaw. So I've always wondered this watching the NFL. I'm wondering, so there's a million coaches, right? There are coaches everywhere. And it's almost like there's one coach for every guy out there. It just never made sense to me. But so I don't know how many there's, maybe 15 coaches, something like that. So you have a head coach, and then you have assistant head coaches, then you have lots of defensive coordinators, then you have quarterback coaches, the line coaches, everyone's a coach, right? So the head coach, I know at LSU, I am very plugged in with LSU. Ed Orgeron does not call a play. That headset is up, not calling plays, motivating guys. That's it. Slapping them on the ass. Great job. Keep it up. Blah, blah, blah. I'm a recruiter. I'm a great face for LSU because I'm a Cajun. Not calling plays, right? Okay, so a head coach in the NFL is my question here. So what does he essentially do? If there's a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator and a quarterback coach, who's calling plays? I mean, I know the Mike Tomlins of the world probably calling plays, right? Mm-hmm. But give me like a run of the mill, like a Browns, like the Browns this year. Is he calling plays? Like how many head coaches in the NFL are calling plays?
Yeah, that completely is an organizational deal. It is different from organization to organization.
Okay.
So I don't know how Belichick did it up north there. The assumption is because Belichick wanted his say in every single thing, that Bill sort of stepped away from the play calling because he can't call plays on every single freaking play.
Right.
So he leaves it to his coordinators, which I 100% agree with.
Right.
And if you're hiring coordinators to coordinate, let them coordinate. If they don't get it done, gone.
Yeah. Right.
But like when I was with the Jets, Rex Ryan, the head coach, called the defense. When I was in Chicago, Mark Trestman, he's an offensive guy, the head coach, he called the offense. Now, we had an offensive coordinator, but he was our offensive line coach. So when Trestman was calling plays, he would radio to our O-line coach, say, hey, I want to run here. What run do you want to run?
Okay.
So that would be the exception to the rule. Like, yes, our O-line coach was our offensive coordinator, but he really wasn't coordinating the offense. The head coach was. So it really depends on the team, depends on who the head coach is. I think the smart play is to let your coordinators coordinate, because as a head coach, generally you get say over who your coordinators are, generally, unless you are that LA team, and then you get told who your coaches are. And that's a winning recipe. Way to go, John Spanos. Yeah. But outside of that, you get to hire your coordinators, and it just makes sense. You got so much shit to deal with as a head coach. Let your coaches coach, and then you deal with all the other stuff, like when to call a timeout. Anthony Lynn has no clue when to call a fucking timeout. That's why Phillip Rivers, if you watch the replay of all those games, Phillip Rivers was always conveniently 8 feet away from Anthony Lynn. And every time the situation would come up, Phillip would walk behind him and he'd whisper, timeout, 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 call it. Because Anthony Lynn had no idea.
Well, so shocker, they couldn't manage a clock the entire year this year without Phil also. Total shocker.
So I'm super excited Now, Anthony Lynn gets to put his skills on the line in Detroit here to see how good of a play caller he is. And I'm really excited to watch this.
Oh, my God. Hey, so Petey and I live in Texas guys, whatever. Even though I grew up, Southern California Chargers fan, they're gone. The Cowboys run Texas. Word on the street is there is a specific owner for the Cowboys that has been known to call plays. Is that bullshit, or does Jerry actually call plays sometimes?
I have
in games.
I have some firsthand knowledge on this.
Give it to us.
I have a very close friend, mentor, pseudo father. He's my football father. We've talked about this on our pod. I won't throw out any names, but if you just listen to our pod, you'll know who I'm talking about.
Flock calls me daddy.
It is not Woodhead. So this particular coached in Dallas for a lot of years, built that offensive line when their offensive line was rolling, built that whole thing. Well, I'm not talking that far back. I'm talking a little more modern here.
Oh, did you hear that? Oh, sorry.
I did. This guy was the offensive coordinator in Dallas, and the reason he left Dallas is because he would call a play into Romo, and all of a sudden Romo would get a different radio frequency down to his helmet from the owner's box, calling a different play. So this offensive coordinator is like, I'm fucking out of here because this is bullshit. Because we ain't doing anything. We're just screwing everything up. We're having delay games left and right, and I look like an asshole over here. Everybody's blaming me for not getting the playing. I'm calling the play, but Romo cannot hear it because Jerry is radioing in. How is that allowed? That is illegal. But the NFL looks the other way because it's Jerry.
Yeah, it's Jerry Jones.
I'll be damned.
Jerry Jones is calling plays from the owner's booth.
27 drinks in.
With hookers and prostitutes. He's calling your plays at the end of the game, Cowboys fans. How do you feel about that?
I'll have my 14th vodka soda, and we'll take a quarterback sneak from the 40-yard line.
Check my Tinder and call Z-Power 97 Zig Commander for the win.
Swipe right on that one, would you, Jerry? Thank you.
On two. Ready, hut. What's up, For the People fam? We all know that life comes at us fast. Like a hosel rocket from the middle of the fairway, triple bogey season when we thought we were going to have a nice look at a birdie. Don't you worry. Our guys at Wood Insurance of Conroe have got you covered. As your neighbor in Texas, they'll save you the headache of finding affordable home and auto insurance. Right now, you have enough to worry about, so go ahead and call these guys, Wood Insurance, 936-249-2330. That's 936-249-2330. Wood Insurance, an agency for the people. All right. That's enough. That's enough of Petey and I have got our knee pads on. We're like full NFL fanboy situation here. We can talk golf here for a hot second if you guys want.
All right.
I love golf.
Time for y'all to get your knee pads on.
Petey, ton of good shit here, obviously. This kind of goes both ways. What is the craziest thing / body part / item that a fan has had either one of you three really sign?
Go Slaw.
Oh, I've definitely signed the chest areas. That's a normal deal. But when you sign a man's underwear, that's a little bit awkward.
It wasn't your brother-in-law's, was it?
No, that was training.
That was a fishing
camp,
trip. Okay.
Training camp in Chicago. We would go down to Southern Illinois to this little teeny tiny Christian college town, and there was one bar open, and the O-line was there every off night. We were there, and the whole town knew it, and the whole town was there also. And I was asked to sign a man's underwear, and that was very awkward. I mean, like holding the deal, like, okay, just like trying to sign, like,
wait, you were holding the deal?
Well, I mean, you need to find a firm surface to sign on. But so
in our pod, you refer to the deal as something else.
No, that is what I'm talking about.
The piece,
Yeah.
nice piece.
Oh, you're literally holding the deal. Oh man, wow.
Woody, you got to have signed some good stuff. I mean,
No,
you're
you know what?
just ladies' man, bro. You probably there's probably some action, signing action.
It was nothing crazy. It was always weird anytime someone wanted me to sign like their skin. In my head, I'm like,
You're gonna shower, right?
I hope you shower. Like I've never understood it. Like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. But like, what are you doing? That never made sense to me. I guess I'm gonna do it, and then it's just gonna get washed off. But it's just like, did you think about it? Did you think about what you wanted signed? Like, I mean, I could just sign your T-shirt, right? I always thought that was weird.
So you're talking titties. You signed titties.
No, I will say I never did. I never did. No.
So where are we going with the skin thing? You signed
No, I
someone's
mean just
face?
arms, just anything.
Their teeth.
Yeah.
Did you sign someone's nose? I mean, what are we talking about here?
Can you put a tramp stamp on me, please?
Hey,
just with emphasis on the wood, like as hard as you can on this tramp stamp.
Woodhead.
Tons of lower back signatures.
Give me that Woodhead.
And in the knee pit, just the lower back.
The knee pit. Huh? Wow. Well, I got mine was obviously a pair of titties. That's what everybody's weirdest thing is they signed. But I was 22. Okay. I was playing the Zurich Classic in New Orleans on a sponsor exemption. This was 2011. And it's not the titties that made it awkward. It was whose pair of titties that made it awkward. This is
John Daly.
This is in New Orleans.
John Daly.
Very comparable to Daly.
Mama Peterson, please tell me it's that. That would make the story a hell of a deal.
So I played good down there in New Orleans. It's from LSU, right? And I was in like 6th or 7th. They ended up finishing 8th on a sponsor exemption in New Orleans. But so I get done and I'm on the practice screen and all these people are chanting "Go Tigers!" And there's this lady, like full grown woman. I mean, she's probably 40 something, huge cans. And she's like, "Hey, come sign my tits." And like, she's not pulling them out because it's a golf tournament, but she's waving this marker in the air. And I'm like, God, she's so obnoxious that I have to, right? So just to get her to be shut up, like just shut up. So I walk over to her and I'm like, man, this chick looks familiar. And like, I didn't register it until after I talked to her for a second. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. And then I went and like got in the locker room and got on my phone. And if y'all ever watched professional wrestling, which you probably did as a kid, there's a lady by the name of China.
Oh yeah. No.
China. God rest her soul. She passed away in 2016. But I signed China's titties.
Oh, wow.
At the Zurich Classic in New Orleans in 2012.
That's a hell of a deal.
Yeah, it was a hell of a deal. So that that's definitely the strangest thing.
I remember China. Yes, dude. Yeah, that was god dang. I don't have anything like that.
She's so jacked, it's stupid.
Huge. I was terrified of her.
Oh gosh.
Slaw, you want to know how popular I was? My rookie year on the PGA Tour, I signed no less than 100 autographs and autograph pictures of JJ Henry. For some goddamn reason, they thought I was JJ Henry. JJ Henry is named JJ, goes without saying. He went to TCU, as did I. He is 5 inches taller than me. He's 40 pounds more than me. He has brown hair. I have blonde hair. What's left is blonde. We don't look the same at all. And I'd look at this picture with my actual face. This was not mask season. This was not Corona season. Like, this was my actual face looking at people in the year 2012, year of our Lord. I'm looking at people and I'm like, are you looking at the picture that you're giving me and looking at this? And do you think it's the same human being signing this? And they would they didn't care.
Like 60.
Nothing like you.
He's like 60.
No, it's like y'all signing autographs for each other. Essentially, you guys are signing it's like someone going up to Slaw and being like, "Mr. Woodhead, would you sign this, please? My mom's a huge fan." 100, no less than 100 times the whole year.
I couldn't remember what he looked like, and I just looked him up.
Yeah.
And I love JJ. Like, JJ's my boy, Fort Worth guy, and I'm just like,
yeah, but you look nothing like him.
Yeah.
And I'm just like signing it, and I'm like, And you know what I did? I signed a JJ Henry every goddamn time, just like because what else was I supposed to do? Man of the people. But I'm just like, do you not even see? Like, we might as it's not even close, but it is what it is. Play better, I guess, right? Play better. That's what they say on tour. Play better.
That's amazing.
So I just had to look him up myself, and
Nothing. Like
when I look at his picture compared to yours, I think that screams type 2 diabetes. And then I look at you, and it does not scream that. It doesn't.
Mine screams like Rogaine ad or something like that.
I don't know if you guys can see that deal, but that's diabetes to me. So the fact that somebody would confuse the two, that's unbelievable.
I signed it 100 times. He's a horned frog. I love JJ. Like, we play practice runs together. JJ's my boy. He was supposed to go down to Mexico with me, playing this deal. Love it. I signed, you know how many JJ Colleen autographs he signed? 0. I swear it was probably 0. I signed 100 JJ Henry autographs. Hell of an easy name to figure out how to spell. I already got the JJ part down. Henry. I can roll the dice and probably figure that one out. So that was my claim to fame on weirdest thing I've ever signed. So if you have a JJ Henry thing on eBay that you're trying to sell for $6.40 right now, and it looks a little different, maybe not authenticated, might be my doing.
Okay, we have ventured quite off the path of Johnny Manziel playing professional golf.
Oh God, yeah. Where did we land on that one? Is he in the Masters this year?
We are now at like 45 minutes on that one question. That is a hell of an answer. So there you go. James Nitties, one of our pals, James Nitties, Australian golfer, professional golfer, PGA Tour player. Who is the all-time best NFL golfer? All time. Not right now. All time. Probably right now, though.
Yeah, probably right.
Say Johnny Manziel. Say it, Dan.
I would say Johnny Manziel. No. Josh Scobie was always a really good golfer. He was a kicker for the Jags.
Why are kickers always the best?
They have all the free time, right?
They don't have a job.
Yeah.
Robbie Gold
They're
is
barely
a savage
people.
at golf also.
What about Kyle Williams? Did y'all ever play golf with Kyle Williams?
I never played golf with him, but I know he's like a plus, I think.
I've played a lot of golf
good
with
at football
Kyle Williams.
too.
I played a lot of golf with Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams, if I'm voting right now, I haven't played with y'all. I haven't played with Woodhead, but Kyle Williams.
Slaw could be there too.
Kyle Williams is very good.
I'm gonna get Slaw there. God dang it.
Yeah, Kyle's really good,
and he's a good dude too.
Yeah.
Besides him breaking my ankle in a game, good dude.
Broke your ankle?
Yeah, he apologized though, and I was like, Kyle, like you're really big. That's gonna happen. that's part of the game.
Yeah, Kyle haunted my dreams for a lot of years. And then when I took over the starting role, our first kid was born right before we played him the second time. And I remember the first TV timeout of the deal, he walked across the line, we're all in the huddle there, and he walks up to me and he taps me, and I'm thinking like, shit, I gotta freaking get in a fight with this dude in a TV timeout because he's coming over here to talk shit. And he goes, dude, I just heard you had a kid. Congrats, bro. That's awesome. Like, holy crap, I want to give you a hug because I'm so terrified of you because you're so good at football, and all I have to do is block you all the time, and it's a nightmare. And now you're coming over here to congratulate me about my kid. I just want to give you a hug.
He was, you talk about him being a baller as a golfer. He was so, like, players knew he was good and, some coaches, but he was super underrated. Right. Like,
for sure.
Low key, as they call it.
I thought he was so good. So good.
Yeah. I remember that touchdown he scored. Do y'all remember that? And they put him in. They were way up. Buffalo was way up. And it was his last game, I think. They were going to lose. And they put him in at tailback, and he freaking ran it in from 2 yards. Oh, I love seeing that. I'm a huge Kyle Williams fan. I love Kyle Williams.
He's awesome.
He's a great golfer. I think Woodhead and Kyle Williams need to tee it up and see who's better.
I would love to play with him just because maybe he'd talk about like my kids like he did with Slauson and make me feel good.
Well, the good thing about Kyle and Woodhead is they're about the same height. They're just 100 pounds different.
Yeah. We're very similar in height.
That's right.
But that's about it.
Dude,
that's what made him insane to block. I'm like, dude, you're 5'6". I got nowhere to punch.
Well, dude, that's
center of gravity's tough there, buddy.
When Petey, that's what I mean. It's hard to tie golf and football together. Like, let's be honest. Right. However, Petey, was there ever a guy that you ever played with and you're just like, shit, if this guy has his best stuff, like he's gonna whip my ass? Like Danny, did you ever play against a guy and you're like, dude, if I have a hell of a game or whatever, I still got to be nervous that this guy might just end me over the middle, or Slaw, I got to block this guy all a game. I got to have the best game of my life to make sure this guy just doesn't light up freaking Phil or Cutler or whoever. Is there anybody that where you're just like, shit, I dread going up against this guy because I know he's just ridiculous?
See, for me, it was, being a running back and so not a lot of people know this, but I got activated as a receiver in New York before I ever played on any roster. That's where I first got activated. And so it was almost like I was a receiver in the backfield. And that's where it was basically routes is what I would go into each game thinking my matchup. And when you're a running back, you usually get linebackers. So in that end, no, I never felt like it was a mismatch for them all the time. But in pass blocking, yes. Because you coming down the A gap, so I don't know how familiar you guys are, but the A gaps are right to the right and left of the center. And you have a 255-pound Vontez Burfict who likes to kill people. Like that's not enjoyable.
Ray Lewis, who actually likes to kill people.
Oh, yes, he did. He killed the guy.
Literally, watch for your life when he's coming through the A gap.
No. So
killed the guy. So
that sucked having Burfict. I didn't see the primetime Ray Lewis. I saw the end of that wasn't. I was more Burfict. Like literally, there was one time he hit me, and I was like, "What just happened to me?"
Oh, shit.
And I felt like he was maybe going to try to do something after the play. I don't know, like step on me or. Indama consume me or something. I don't know. Something crazy. What about you, Slaw?
Oh my gosh.
Aaron Donald.
Yeah. So really for me, I like to undersell myself a lot because I snuck my way into the NFL and snuck my way into playing a decade. And I didn't deserve to be there in the athletic sense. Now I did deserve to be there in other senses. But from the athletic sense, pretty much every offensive lineman other than myself was more deserving athletically to be there. So really every week I felt like I had to bring the stuff. But my stuff wasn't even good enough to block any of these guys. So it was always figuring out other things, figuring out ways to cheat, how to hold them, how to do blocks that they've never seen before, like start coming after knees and ankles, like make them fearful for the rest of their career because they were so much more gifted than I was. Early in my career, Haloti Nada, that dude scared the crap out of me. And the great thing about him is he's such an awesome dude. One of the most
kind of Kyle Williams type guys, like as far as like good dude, right?
Yeah. Very, very similar personality wise. But when you want to talk about a gifted human being, gigantic, 6'3", like 330 pounds and runs like a damn deer. The sweet thing is he didn't know how powerful he was. So when he would rush on me, he would always try to do these like stupid speed rush moves. And I'm like, dude, you're freaking huge. So I can keep up with you when you do the speed rush stuff because you're giant. But if you ever brought the speed to power, I'm done. I'm not going to tell him that. So I'm just going to be like, yeah, keep on doing your speed deal. And then like twice a game, he would get super pissed and be like, fuck this. I'm coming after you with power. And it was like, buckle up. I am like a rodeo cowboy now, just holding on for dear life. And he made me look silly. But the great thing is after that play was over, it's like he would forget again how strong he was for the next like 35 plays. He would forget about it and go with his stupid speed again. I'm like, oh, okay, sweet. And then some point at the end of the game, in the fourth quarter, I'm just sweating bullets because I know he's about to get pissed again and pull power, and I'm going to be screwed. So Haloti Nada was one of those. Albert Hainsworth, back in the day, he was another guy, but it was a different thing. He didn't have speed. He was lazy and fat, but he was so gifted that twice a game, he just like, all right, I'll give it a try. And then it'd be, hold on, baby. Throw the ball, please. And the JJ Watts, I mean, he's a puss, so whatever. Aaron Donald, though, this guy is for real. This dude is scary. And he's even smaller than Woodhead is. So I've got nowhere to punch. Every time I try to punch him in the chest, I'm like going 3 feet over his head. And this dude never stops, ever. I mean, I can have him blocked and he's just doing whatever. That is really the toughest thing as an offensive lineman, especially a guy like me who is not gifted and has to study guys. If it's one of the premier defensive linemen in this league, I'm generally fine because they are so arrogant in what they do. They have 2 or 3 moves that they know they can beat everybody with. So if I just figure out how to stop those 2 or 3 moves, it's generally an easy day. It is the guys like Aaron Donald that say, I don't care if you stop my 3 moves because I have 15 moves that I'm just going to try whatever I can do. And that is what makes Aaron Donald so great, because he is not above trying anything. And he's scary.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be in the trenches with y'all at all. So that is some scary shit. Yeah, I mean, what's that? The combined 650 pounds going at each other like you're just 2 wild bulls with their nuts chopped off right at once. I mean, come on. Like, who wants that? You're gonna end up with a torn ACL or something. We'll go ahead and go back to the PGA Tour. Keep it a little softer here. Actually, this is from Brad Slater.
We moisturize on the PGA Tour, by the way.
Yeah, we're talking about
a lot softer.
Lubriderm, hotel lotion, whatever you want. Brad Slater says, pick 4 PGA Tour players, current or former, that could possibly play in the NFL. This might be hard.
I would say JJ played for, what was it, 13 years?
Me?
Yeah, you.
About myself? I did play football all the way until high school. Yeah.
Cypress. I'm saying.
Oh, you're talking about Cypress. Yeah. Oh, when I was a punter for the Chargers. Yeah. I went to these guys at the bar one night and we were just hanging out and everyone was talking to him and no one wanted to talk to me. And I was like, God, who could I be from the Chargers where we all played together? And I was like, oh, Mike Cyphers, punter. So I pretended I was Mike Cyphers, and all of a sudden, everybody in the goddamn bar wanted to talk to me for the last 2 hours. It was a hell of a deal.
And he was going around doing like toe touches, like he was punting a ball. He was walking around doing toe touches.
And tell him about the kicks. I was like, yeah, this is more of an Australian style. Like if I'm trying to just pin him, like we're on the 35, but they don't trust Nick Kading. Like they want me to like put a little spin on one. Like I'll punt it like this. But if I like need to hit a full piss missile, it's off the side of my foot, like boomerang style. And I was like full follow through. You know what? That's my hamstring still hurts from that. It's hurt for 2 months. And that's why it is. That's what I remember.
That's it.
I would go with, if we're gonna be serious about this, everyone wants to say Koepka. I don't know, Slaw, you can make a decision on that. I would pick a Gary Woodland, just because athletically, I'm saying he played basketball, so he has to have some sort of athleticism.
Is that the guy with the huge hog?
No,
that's
Gonzalo. That's Gonzalo Fernandez Castaño. Trust me.
Yeah, he's got a nice piece.
The old guy running on the beach with this thing like flapping.
That's Greg Norman.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's Greg Norman.
Yeah, Greg Norman's like 11 inches limp in that photo, so maybe he could have done something. He's an Aussie rules football.
Can we dust up
based on
freaking PGA like?
Based
dictionary,
on what I understand,
yeah,
about
Gary Woodland.
about what it takes to play defensive back in this league, Greg Norman could play defensive back in this league.
So if Greg Norman walked into a NFL shower with defensive backs, would the NFL showers like give him dubs walking in? Would they like give him knuckles? Like, you're like one of the boys. Like they know
like, damn,
he
Greg.
belongs.
If honestly,
every time I walked in the shower with the guys, they're like, "Hey, bro, here's a couple bucks. I mean, I feel bad for you."
all I know is freaking slaw. Oh gosh. Anyways, at my two corners, I'd have Greg Norman and Dustin Johnson without a doubt. And then as free safety, I'd probably put Matt Kuchar. Did you see that picture?
Come on.
Did you see that picture? No, we're talking about defensive backs.
Oh, or bulge? No, there's a Kuchar bulge out there. I
Kuchar?
haven't
Oh
seen the
my
picture.
gosh. It was like, I don't know if it was Photoshopped, but I was like, what on earth is that?
Kuchar?
I didn't think so either. I was like,
this
do you have an
needs to be all
Aquafina
over
in
social
there?
media? Hey, everybody listening to this, the tens
That's
of millions listening,
unbelievable.
we need a photo of Kuchar's piece to clarify this action.
It was the craziest thing I had ever seen. I was like, that's not real, right?
Can't be.
I mean, the guy wears Skechers. You can't be.
Which is probably why. No, when I saw it though, I saw it on Twitter and I was like, that's not real, right? So I was saying he's probably a free safety.
Well, everything on Twitter's real.
Well, bro, the lockdown corners, obviously DJ and Greg.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
maybe.
Have either of you showered with Dustin Johnson? Because when I see
not
him,
with him, but
I've tried to, but he just declines every single time. So it's not ideal for me, but I've tried my best.
wait, you don't have the group showers situation going on?
Slaw, we need to talk about the difference between the PGA Tour. No, we have our
Oh my
pieces.
God,
Our
the
pieces
tour-
are not as massive. We don't. No, everybody like goes home and they
You
like
obviously
do
haven't showered with
Pilates.
us.
That is part of the fun, though, of professional sports. It's called penis peeking.
God,
You got to check it out.
dude. No, well, I mean,
that's the only reason I know about Gonzo.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody had a nice enough piece on the PGA Tour, I just feel as if they just walk around. And I mean, Greg Norman, I mean, the guy, you know what the greatest part about that photo is? And I think Ian Baker Finch or somebody confirmed this. Yeah, the photo's amazing. But listen to this. He has a little remote in his hand. He was actually holding a drone, taking pictures of himself and his dog. So like he knew exactly what he was doing.
Did he really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's like, the word on the street. And I respect him even more for it.
So he had half chub. That changes the game. 100% change.
He changed the game. So I mean, everybody loves talking about massive.
Not
pieces.
a huge, not respect anymore. That's different to me.
Well, somebody fact check me. Somebody fact check.
I mean, he's banging his snake against the wall trying to get blood in there. 5 minutes before this, that could be me. That could be anybody with that look. Come on,
it could have been 30 seconds like post release also, which you still have a decent piece at that point in time.
Yeah, that's a different deal. That's okay. What's the craziest thing? Oh, we've already done that one. You skipped one then.
No, Petey, you got to go for a hot second. Like, honestly, if I picked 100 guys that I think are on the PGA Tour that could play in the NFL, I'm confident you and I would be attending 100 PGA Tour funerals, like at some point in the next 3 months.
Without a doubt.
However, Petey, is there somebody that you think maybe if they got bulked up, maybe did a couple quick cycles or whatever they needed to do to reach there? Is there somebody? I know there's your man crush for sure, and he's the same guy I'm thinking of. Is there somebody you think that could potentially play?
Oh, yeah.
You know your man crush is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're thinking Tony Finau.
Yeah, Tony Finau.
Well,
I
love
think
Tony Finau.
Yeah, I love Tony Finau. I think he's the most gifted player in the world as far as golf goes. I mean, he's so gifted. Once he gets it in his head that he can win and close it out, he's going to win so many times. Yeah. He's just not there yet mentally, but no, I don't think he could play in the NFL. I think he could possibly play in the NBA. I mean, he's cousins with Jabari Parker, I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's his cousin, like first cousin. So like he's a very good athlete. Tony's a very good athlete. I think he could be a great basketball player. The guy that comes to mind when I think about golfers that are like hard-nosed, kind of don't take any shit from anybody a guy like Alex Cheka comes to mind. Okay. Little guy.
Hold on, Slaw. This is a guy that just turned 50 that burns 90 skids per round.
He does, but he's a tough little German bastard, right? and he's only like 5'9", probably like 170, but he's all muscle.
Not huge.
But he's all muscle. Like if you told him, all right, and Tom Brady was like, and Slaw was right there. Like, you have Slaw and Tom Brady, okay? And you got a whole line of guys, and you're like, all right, you're at the 2-yard line, and I'm picking one guy to run it in from 2 yards. Like, Alex Cheka would rather die than not score. So I'm picking like Alex Cheka or like Peter Lonard. Remember Peter Lonard? Like
that's fullback season right there for sure. Fullback season.
He had forearms the size of trash cans.
Who's the dude with the Raiders that had the bloody nose after every single play? That's Peter Lonard. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Like Peter Lonard or Alex Cheka.
Yeah.
We're picking some obscure golfers at this point. Y'all probably have no idea.
I've heard of both. I don't know what Peter looks like though.
Yeah, they're so like I'm picking those two guys just because they're thick and they're mean. But
we know Slaw would pick DeChambeau.
Oh, come on, dude! That guy, he's as soft as a cotton ball.
Slaw hates him more than any person in the world.
I don't like him at all.
No, me neither. I just don't. I don't. Yeah.
Oh, Peter Lonard. Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Look up Alex Cheka in a cloud of smoke with a beanie on and tell me if he could play in the NFL.
I'm talking like one play. I'm talking one play, right? Okay.
What, the freaking annexation of Puerto Rico? Like,
if it's 4th and inches, I'm putting Cheka in it for a quarterback sneak.
You got to pick one. I mean, the question was you had to pick one. There you go. I mean, no one else is picking them. I'll pick one.
No, that is the only one that makes sense. I mean, when you think of
DJ could play corner, obviously.
I don't know, man. He's so awkward.
No, I'm just saying because he's a defensive back. We're talking about showers. We're not.
He does have a hog.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, season.
Yeah.
Hog.
Yeah. And he always wears the super tight, light gray pants so you can see the full print of the deal. I'm just like, good God, how does he even swing with that thing? He's
the Jabbar Gaffney of the PGA Tour, boys.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he's dealing with two.
# blessed season, right?
He's dealing with two different shafts in his swing. I mean, you got to get one out of the way before you get the other one through.
It works.
Austin, what is this thing, man?
Oh God. Oh, that's why we're always, especially with our ON guys, top 5 every single week.
Without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. But if you go to the other part of this question, though, that I know is coming, is what football players would you pick to play on tour?
Yeah.
I mean, the sports are polar opposites,
right?
I mean, are there any professional football players that you could go see and like actually compete like regularly on tour? No, there's not. There's not. Two completely different sports.
Woodhead, Romo, Manziel, and Slaw. I mean, I don't know what other 4 I would pick other than those 4 right
Slaw
there,
versus Manziel and Romo, because I know my boy Slaw's got Manziel.
Oh, I know. Destroy that little twerp.
He can get in someone's ear hole. Like Slaw already said that he's going to do illegal shit. Period. End of story. So we already know that's happening.
Without a doubt, we're doing some P. Reed stuff.
Oh my God, the amount of flags I got.
I think my ball's embedded. My ball's embedded. Yeah, it's like 2 feet from the hole, man. Like it's on the green.
Who cheats more, Patrick Reed or the NFL?
Ooh,
Patrick Reed, or specifically the Patriots.
Oh, snap.
Hey, let me say this. Everyone likes to say the Patriots, and every other team I played on cheated more than the Patriots.
No way, really?
Without a doubt, it wasn't even close. Like, that's the funny thing is when I was at the Pats, everything was so like and maybe it's because it was after Spygate, but it was like, we're not doing anything. Like, we'd get to a minute left on because there's time for training camp practices. They're like, all right, we got to go. Everywhere else, extra 30 minutes. Oh, do a little bit of this. Or like when you get into a game plan meeting and they're like, yeah, we heard this from a birdie. And we're like, what's a birdie? In New England, they're always like, yeah, we don't know who's playing this week. Other places we're like, yeah, from a birdie, this guy's not playing. Like, I'm like, so that's the funny thing that I always hear is when people say, yeah, the Patriots cheating. It's like, not that I played on all the teams, but I played on 4, and there was like the least amount by a wide margin. Like all the other teams, I'm like, how do you know that? Like, how do we know that?
I'll be damned.
Isn't that interesting?
That's kind of, it's probably like Patrick Reed, bro. Like he's under a microscope and he does shady shit, goes without saying, but there are probably a handful of guys that do way shadier shit than him. It's just, they're not as good and no one cares. So they don't see it. They don't see it.
Think about it. Who gets in trouble? Anytime a team gets in trouble for doing something illegal, who is it? It's a Super Bowl team. When the Seahawks got in trouble, they were doing the same thing 3 years before. It's just they won a Super Bowl. So it's like, oh, yeah, we have to do it. What about the Ravens? Oh, yeah, it's just the teams that win. How many times have the Chargers gotten caught for illegal stuff? Never.
That's a good point.
It's just true.
And they do
like,
illegal
what
shit
about the Saints?
all the time?
What about the Saints? Yeah, did they do a little Bounty Nation? Yeah, sure. But like, who cares? Like, it's because they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If they didn't win a Super Bowl,
let me throw out a quick
station all day.
Let me throw out a quick story here about how the Chargers cheat. There was a player on the team when I got there, and he got really significantly hurt.
I don't think I know this, by the way.
No, you do. You do.
Okay.
You just don't know you do because I haven't finished the story because you interrupted me. So whatever.
No, I didn't know they cheated.
No, this isn't necessarily like in-game cheating stuff,
Okay, gotcha.
but this is just a way of manipulating things. There was a player that got significantly hurt, and they released him when they are not allowed to release him because teams are not allowed to release injured players. And they just straight cut him and said, you ain't getting anything, which is illegal. And come to find out that the reason they did that is because they knew the player would file a grievance and that would push his salary cap hit to the next year is all it was. Because they're such a cheap ass team that they were trying to find another player to come in and fill a defensive line spot. So they cut an offensive line guy who was hurt, and they are not allowed to do that. But they were so strapped for cash that they knew if he filed a grievance lawsuit against him, then the rest of his salary would go on to the following year's tally. So nobody cares. Nobody cares because they always suck because of John Spanos.
Spanos Nation right here, Slaw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some
not naming
Chargers
names.
hate here.
Yeah, not to name any names, but John Spanos.
I'm not about naming names.
Is it John Stamos or John Spanos? I'm confused.
It's Stamos.
They're very close to each other. So
one of them is very talented.
Which one is that? I don't know. My wife watches a lot of daytime TV, so I think it might be Stamos.
Stamos, for sure, a nice piece on Stamos, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Oh, weird.
Hey, we haven't, and we don't need to get into it and be too serious or whatever, but we haven't mentioned this name once on the whole entire pod. And this is, obviously recent, just happened a few days ago. The whole Tiger deal, I mean, obviously huge, massive for the whole entire, just sports in general, really the world. Like, we're all glad that he's okay, recovering, things like that. What were your guys' thoughts like on what happened, and what did you guys think was going down? Like, Petey and I were talking about it before. He did the looking a little off during the Genesis, during his tournament there in LA, but the fact he's okay and things like that, how did like the sports world, not just golfers, but how did other guys feel about Tiger in general, you think?
Yeah, I think I was obviously a little bit nervous and just not knowing what was going on because you knew he went through back surgery, just didn't know where it was at. I guess, I mean, at least the positive is he's okay. And the positive is like, it was just an accident, at least as far as everything's came out. But more than anything, it's like Tiger was one of the main reasons that I ended up loving golf when I was younger. So like I've followed Tiger forever, and Tiger's been my favorite player forever. Obviously, there was a period of time where I didn't quite agree with all his decisions, but he was unbelievable golfer, and he like changed the game so much. And so like in some ways, I'm like, me selfishly, I was also sad thinking like, gosh, I might not see Tiger play at the Masters again. You know, it was one of those things, but it is awesome that, I mean, he's okay and he's going to be able to be a dad. And I don't know if he's going to ever be able to golf again. Obviously, they're not going to tell us any of that for a while. But man, like I was basketball was a big deal to me. Was never a huge Kobe fan. I really respected him and liked him. But like for all those people that like loved Kobe, that's how I was with Tiger. He's probably my favorite athlete of all time.
Yeah, that's
law.
Yeah. So when I heard the news, instantly you start assuming things like, oh, you know, he just got his back operated on, so he's freaking slamming pills and he's driving when he shouldn't be.
Right.
And then, I mean, not to sound like cold or anything, because you know I really care about that. You know, when the sheriff's department came out and said, you know, there was no reason to suspect any type of inebriation or whatever, I was almost disappointed a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the track record here,
they're covering for him, right?
Yeah, it's got to be something. I mean, it's got to be something, and it's eventually going to come out and it'll all align.
Yeah, right.
Because you know, everybody talks about how dangerous that stretch of road is and how many wrecks there are, and it was an early morning deal. So, you know, I don't imagine he was just like bombed off of his ass coming back from a club or something. But I mean, he just got his back operated on. So I could definitely see the situation where, you know, he wasn't feeling good. He was just out at a golf event. So, you know, up on his feet all day long, talking to the press and all that. His back was probably hurting him. So maybe he took one extra pill and that was it. And he went over the side. So and luckily he's fine.
So Tiger Woods, everybody, it's not a secret that Tiger Woods cannot sleep. He has mentioned it in books, interviews. He cannot sleep. He is famous for sleeping on the floor of his hotel rooms.
On the floor?
On the floor. He will sleep on the floor of hotel rooms. He takes an Ambien to sleep every day. That's what he does. Just had his back operated on for like the 4,000th time. Okay. So you're talking about the world's greatest athlete ever. The most dominant athlete, right? If he would have never gotten in trouble and never had any, he'd have 30 majors, okay, at this point. This is a guy who cannot go to dinner anywhere. He cannot make himself seen in public, right? He's lived his entire life under a microscope. He goes out with David Spade, right? It was all over Instagram that day. He was playing golf with David Spade that day, the day before the wreck. And it's all over the place. This is my opinion. In my opinion, him and David Spade burnt the midnight oil. He took his Ambien a little bit late, 1, 2 in the morning, had to wake up at 6, 4 or 5 hours later. That's not enough time for an Ambien to be fully out of your system, okay? Gets in his car, starts going down this windy-ass road in L.A. I've been on it. Colleen's been on it. That's a road sucks. You've probably been on it too. Y'all probably been on it too. Road sucks. Goes across traffic. It's not like a coyote jumped out in front of him, right? You don't go across traffic if a coyote jumps out in front of you. Goes across traffic, down into a ditch, okay? Fell asleep at the wheel. Had to have, right? Dude's been on Ambien for 15 years. Just had another back surgery. That makes 35 of those. He's on all sorts of pain pills, all sorts of sleeping medicine. You cannot convince me at this point that Tiger Woods was not on some sort of medication that this happened because of that. You just can't convince me otherwise. I'm sorry. Like, we have seen this before. It's not like this is a new thing. And obviously, everybody here loves Tiger Woods. We're all golf fans, big golf fans. We want to see him healthy. We want to see him win because it's better for everybody. But we have seen this before out of Tiger Woods. We have seen the mugshot, the DUI, the 9-iron over the face in 2009. We've seen it all. It's not a new thing for him to do this. I think this will be squashed. I think the tour will squash this one, and we will not hear what the real cause was. That may be for the better. My opinion is Ambien painkiller combo.
I 100% agree with you.
I never thought about that.
Sounds like we need David Spade to come on the pods. That's what we need.
Yeah, I think that'd be really easy because I mean he knows about all of us.
Oh yeah, for sure. He tunes in every week.
Yeah, for sure. People say my voice sounds like his, and I listen to his voice, and it just pisses me off the whole entire time. But dude, at the end of the day,
Bob Minnery.
Yeah, at the end of the day,
without a doubt,
Petey, your voice. God, Petey, your voice is. I hate your voice, Petey. Actually, it's terrible.
To be fair, I said your voice walked up to Minnery in a bar and kicked his dick right up into his throat. So
yeah, that is what he said.
That's true. You're right.
Because some people like it, and he's saying, "Man, I like yours a lot more."
I appreciate that. No, Thank you very much.
This is a Team Tiger group, though. We're all Team Tiger. Like, we love Tiger. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it because, like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, he's such a recognizable figure, maybe the most in the world. Like, how other sports guys, professional athletes, you know, what did they think went down? Like, how are they feeling about it? Everybody's just glad that he's basically alive right now. Who plays golf again? Whatever. Who knows? They'll tell us that later. But god dang, man, hope to see that guy back and healthy.
Is it bad that obviously, like I told you guys, Tiger's like my favorite athlete of all time? Is it bad that I'm like, okay, he's alive? When do we think Charlie's going to be on tour? Is that bad?
Dude, Vegas actually has odds on that. It's like 15 years. Yeah, they have odds on Charlie winning a major before he's 21. It's like plus 3,200, and then before he's like 25, it's like even money. like they expect him to win majors by 25.
That's like the worst thing about, and I feel bad, but I am like, okay, golf is more than gonna survive because we have great players right now. But when's Charlie going to be there?
So Woody, like, I don't know how it is in football, but like in golf, when kids are they could be nails when they're younger. You know, they play all sorts of other sports for a while. But in golf, like, you can tell if someone's going to be really, really good, like hella good, when they're like 15 or 16.
Really?
Like, what do you think, Petey? Like 10 or 11, because your body grows, you change, you do all these things.
Gotcha.
But like 15 or 16, you're getting pretty close to full steam. So we know, like, this kid is like nails. One of the U.S. junior, like Boyd Summerhays, Tony Finau's coach, his son. We know he's going to be nails or whatever he's young. Is there a football age? Like, is it high school? Is it like as soon as you go to college? How do you know someone might be great or elite?
I think it's more so. I think it's more so college. I mean, when you really know, like, all right, this guy has something. Because in high school you can fake it, because speed and agility, you can fake it like really easily. I don't know at the offensive line position, probably, because if you're bigger than everyone, you can fake it. But then once you start going up against guys that are also dogs, like that's when you realize this guy's good or this guy's not. That's what I think. What do you think, Slaw?
Yeah, for O-line, D-line, it's probably after college. It's almost like you when you draft a player, it's a guess. Because you just got to see, does this guy have the tools, the size tools, and then can he figure out the mental game? You know, in high school and college, the athletic discrepancy is still big enough to where you can just be a better athlete. You can just be bigger and stronger playing O-line, D-line, or at the skill positions, you can just be way faster or bigger. But in the NFL, guys are too smart. It's their jobs. It's how they support their families. So so it is the studying and the professionalism that sets you apart. Golf is such a technical thing. There's so many technical things that go into a swing, and there's thousands of different types of swings. There's not thousands of different ways to block a guy. I mean, you either figure it out or you don't. And in the NFL, because everybody is so good, the discrepancy of athleticism is so small in the NFL. The difference is all in your head and your heart. And so I think in the big guy world, because that's like the grown man's position, when you're talking biologically, you aren't at, as you put it, JJ, you aren't at your full steam of manhood until you're 28, 29. So you're, 6-7 years in to your professional career before you finally peak, add your physical maturity. So it's all just a guess in that realm.
Yeah, I probably answered my own question, or you did there, when GMs, not all of them are stupid, right? So they draft quarterbacks number 1 overall. Well, there's been some bad decisions at number 1 overall in the quarterback, right? And specifically first round picks in general. How often, are mid-round picks, other guys, whatever, nails other than that? So, all right, Petey, rip us up. Let's get us one more question here, and let's send us off with a good one. You have anything for the people here so we can get them going? What time is it? Midnight? God dang. This has been a hell of a deal, guys.
Man, I don't have anything left, I don't think. I don't have anything left. We've got.
Unless you just want to bring one from your heart, Petey.
Petey, bring one from your heart.
While you're thinking of one, Petey, I want to throw something out there, because I know Tiger listens to both of our pods. He tunes in every week. I want to throw something.
That's what I love about him. He just respects our game.
Yeah. He knows that. Tiger, I know you're going to hear this. I want you to slide into my DMs and let me know when you need someone to drive you. Okay. I know you know how to slide into DMs.
Oh, shit.
You were well versed on the DM sliding. I just figured out about this. Okay. My wife had to tell me what sliding into DMs meant. I thought it was a sexual thing, but it's just messages. For all you that don't know, it's just messages that go into your social media thing. I didn't even know where to find it at, but she showed me. So slide into my DMs and I will drive you wherever you need to go. And the chances of you wrecking are probably the same, but at least you won't be at fault. At least you won't be at fault. All right. So just let me know.
Okay. Here's a good one. All right. This is the last question for the people here. This is for the people out of nowhere pod collab season. What are y'all's thoughts on former pro athletes like Tony Romo and current professional athletes Steph Curry getting sponsor exemptions into Korn Ferry Tour events? It's a good one.
It is a good one.
Go ahead.
If someone were to offer me one, I wouldn't say no, but it wouldn't feel like I got there correctly. You know what I'm saying?
Well said. It's well said.
Because there's a difference when you get to the Korn Ferry or like PGA. Like, I feel like those two, and I don't know, you guys would know Canadian, maybe, I don't know, the Canadian Tour, all those, but like, for me, what I know as in the Korn Ferry and the PGA, it's like, I feel like you have to get there on your own. Like, that's my personal, like, if someone said, hey, Danny, you can play in it's now called the Pinnacle Bank here in Omaha. If they said, we're going to give you a sponsor's exemption, would I play? Well, without a doubt I would, but I wouldn't feel like I earned it. I wouldn't be like, yeah, I earned it to get it. Now, if there's like some local, and maybe not even a qualifier, because they had it in the past. If it's like a local tournament, they did the Indian Creek Invite. And if you won that, you got a spot in. It's like, okay, it's like the 1 a.m. that gets in, like, fine. But like, I feel like I'm totally cool with it. Like, with Curry and Romo doing it, because I'd probably say I wouldn't say, "No, that sounds like a terrible idea." No, I'd say, "Of course I'm going to do it," but I don't think I would feel like I got there the right way.
Slaw.
Yeah. So I have very little understanding of how this works. Sponsor exemption is pretty much somebody just ponies up a fuckload of dough for you to go play golf in an event, and they hold whatever open spots, let's say 10, 15 open spots for people to just pay an ass ton to go shove a golfer in there.
Basically a couple, only like 2 to 4 really. So there's like 2 to 4 spots that the sponsors who sponsor the event can like just give to whoever the hell they want, basically.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
should we give a sponsors exemption for Colleen to play for the Chargers?
I was hoping you'd say that. Oh my God, I was hoping you'd say that. Sponsor exemption for Colleen on 3rd down in the Super Bowl in a clutch situation to just go ahead and just throw a wheel route to his boy Woody there.
Yeah, I mean, look, you would actually be you wouldn't need an exemption because you're probably above the talent level of what those fucking scouts are out there searching for. So for sponsors exemption, what do you, I get what you're saying. I totally agree with that. Like, I mean, if somebody's just paying big bucks
like,
to
fine,
shove
I'll
in
play, sure,
whoever they want,
friends.
But how is it any different than the Jets bringing Tim Tebow in back in 2012? Right. I mean, there's not. They're doing it to put asses in the seats.
Or the Tebow is the sponsors. Tim Tebow's the sponsor exemption. Tim Tebow is the sponsor exemption of the NFL. That's it.
But
Tim Tebow was the sponsor exemption for the Jets.
Golf. At least Tebow played college football. Curry never played golf. Romo never played golf.
So that's my point with Tim Tebow. That's my point with Tim Tebow in the Mets, right?
I understand that one.
He's making $100,000 on a minor league contract. Okay, the guy can't sniff a major league deal. That's a total gift, right? Mm-hmm. My thought on it, I'm gonna be a bad guy to every Korn Ferry Tour player out there because I'm on the side of Steph Curry and Tony Romo. I think it brings attention to the tournament. Like, a lot of guys, a lot of pros, a lot of mini tour guys be like, it takes a spot away from some other guy.
Get more fans.
It doesn't. No, it does not.
Yeah, they're just adding special spots.
Exactly. They are adding a couple spots that are probably not going to go to a Korn Ferry Tour guy anyway. They're getting tournament recognition. The Golf Channel is going to show pretty much all of their shots, especially their good ones. There's a shitload of fans that are going to come out now. Like, that is a great thing for the Korn Ferry Tour. PGA Tour, Tony Romo on the PGA Tour, nah. Give it to a PGA Tour guy that's like right around 150th, needs a spot. Give it to that. But the Korn Ferry Tour, give it to Hakeem Olajuwon. Like, I don't care. Like, give it to anyone.
I think it's
anyone
great.
that'll put cheeks in the seats, just do it. Like the Korn Ferry Tour needs the attention. They need the money. Go ahead and do it. Send it. Give it to Johnny Manziel. I don't care. Like, that's the tour.
I'm against the
we're drawing
Johnny
a line.
part.
We're drawing a line.
Johnny part.
We're drawing a line. We're drawing a line.
Well, so the sponsors are paying money too. Yeah, golf's a corporate game, man. Without the sponsors, you're not having a tournament. So if they're going to have a 156-person field and the sponsors get 4 invites, well, shit. # play better if you're bitching that you're not in the top 152.
Right.
And there's 4 guys left, especially on the Korn Ferry Tour where maybe they can bring some notoriety to the event. I remember playing with a guy named Jamie Sedlowski, awesome guy. They gave him a spot and, some of the guys were like, I barely missed. They gave whatever. Sedlowski made the goddamn cut. He's a hell of a golfer. Long drive deal, did a clinic, raised some money for the deal. I mean, Steph, who cares, man? Like, the sponsors are paying money, 4 spots out of 152. Bring it.
Yeah. Well, since we circled back to the Johnny Manziel thing, let me just throw it out there for the Korn Ferry Tour. If any of you guys are considering Johnny Manziel for the sponsor exemption, you need to be fired immediately. And get Larry Fitzgerald or Jerry Rice. Those 2 dudes will bring in way more.
I'd rather have Larry.
Yes.
You're probably right, actually, Slaw. You're probably right.
Significantly more.
Larry can play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want him over Jerry.
Are you a Jerry hater?
I'm not a Jerry hater. I was a big fan of him until all he talked about was Jerry.
Well, Jerry actually played in a couple tournaments too, and he was firing high numbers at some point.
But yeah, he was firing. He was firing
bombs,
like super
bombs.
high numbers, actually.
Yeah, it was 80 bombs. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, easily.
Well, one tournament he just pulled out a laser willy nilly, and you're not allowed to do that in a pro
no,
event.
He did
I think
not.
He was.
Yeah,
he was
joking.
DQ'd. He was DQ'd on the first hole.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was he
played
doing?
as a pro? The amateurs can do whatever the hell they want. They can do a line of coke the whole way up from the fairway to the green, but pull out a goddamn laser as a pro, you go.
Yeah, that's it.
That's impressive.
All right.
That's so good.
Send us off before we downward spiral and never.
We have all had too many drinks, too many thoughts tonight. We appreciate everybody for listening to us. This was one hell of a podcast. That's been almost a couple hours of a couple NFL guys, a couple PGA Tour players just beating it back and forth for 2 hours. You've got to love it. You've got to love it. It's 2021. We could do that. This is Out of Nowhere podcast and For the People podcast. JJ Colleen, John Peterson, Danny Woodhead, and Matt Slauson. Thank you for spending the last couple hours with us. We will see you next time.
What's up, For the People fam? We all know that life comes at us fast. Like a hosel rocket from the middle of the fairway, triple bogey season when we thought we were going to have a nice look at a birdie. Don't you worry. Our guys at Wood Insurance of Conroe have got you covered. As your neighbor in Texas, they'll save you the headache of finding affordable home and auto insurance. Right now, you have enough to worry about, so go ahead and call these guys, Wood Insurance, 936-249-2330. That's 936-249-2330. Wood Insurance, an agency for the people.